Welcome back. So, we are discussing heat exchangers, and a very important type of heat exchangers, that is fin tube heat exchangers is the topic on which we are spending some time. As I have told that tubular structure is very common in industry, and tubular structure is very common for heat exchangers. And with tubular structure we can have different type of heat exchangers like tube in tube or double pipe heat exchanger, cell and tube heat exchanger. So, double pipe heat exchanger and cell and tube heat exchangers primarily they are for liquid application. What does it mean? That means that two fluids, both of them will be in the liquid or liquid phase. Through the central tube one liquid will pass, through the cell or through the annular passage another liquid will pass. But if there is a requirement of heat transfer between a liquid stream and a gas stream, then it would be good that if we can have liquid through the tube side, and outside the tube we will have gas. And gas heat transfer coefficient is small. So, we have to have some augmentation for the gas side. For the gas side we can have fin structure on the outside of the tube, and for a circular tube or for that matter tube of any kind of geometry, we can have three types of fins. Fins could be along the axis of the tube, number of fins. So, that is called longitudinal fin, and already we have seen the analysis of longitudinal fin. Then fin could be in the form of discs, radial discs at different interval, different axial interval. These radial discs can be provided on outside of the tube. These are radial fin, we know how to analyze them. But there could be another variation of fin tube heat exchanger, which we have mentioned, and again I am mentioning because that is important, that there could be integral fin plate which will be pierced by a number of tubes. So, that way we increase the compactness of the heat exchanger. So, if we go to the next slide, in the next slide what we can see different designs of plate fin heat exchanger where the fluid is passing through the tube side. So, it is basically plate fins have been used, but we should have mentioned that tube is also there. So, plate fin and tube type of heat exchangers. So, you can see the tubes I need not show, it is clear to everybody. So, these are the tubes, and here we have got plate fin which is of plain plate fin, and here we have got wavy plate fin. What is important to note here that tubes are having different kind of arrangement. In this, the tubes are in a particular arrangement which is called plane inlined arrangement. In this, plate is plane, so it is called plane, and then it is staggered arrangement. So, you see this is a staggered arrangement. In the first row we have got 3 tube. In the second row the tubes are slightly shifted from the position of the first row. So, they are staggered, and in the second case we have got again wavy inclined, that is C, and we have got wavy staggered. So, tubes can be arranged inline arrangement and staggered arrangement. Plates can have, fin plates can have different kind of geometry, plane geometry and wavy geometry has been shown. There could be several other kind of geometry. So, with this let us go to the next slide. So, here I have noted the very important points. Fin tube heat exchangers are often designed to have fin plates pierced by a number of tubes. Several fin plates are arranged parallel to each other. So, this is what we will be able to see. So, here you see the plates are arranged parallel to each other. So, between two plates there will be a passage, through that passage it will be it will be the flow path of the gas stream. But you see this passage is not unobstructed, because in between these outer surface of some other tubes are coming. So, this is kind of a passage, this is another kind of a passage which is wavy, and this is plain passage, something like that we will get. So, if we go back, then several fin plates are arranged parallel to each other. Two neighboring fin plates constitute a passage for gas flow. Convective heat transfer from the fin plates needs to be determined. For this, the temperature variation of the fin plate is to be determined. So, obviously, the fin plates will have different temperature at different point. Near the tube they will have some temperature. Suppose hot fluid is passing through the tubes, then near the tube they will have higher temperature, and away from the tube they will have lower temperature. Then fin plates are basically two dimensional fins, where the thickness is so small that the temperature variation across it may be neglected. So, this point if we like to discuss, it is like this. The fin plates, here again let us go back to the fin plates, they are very thin. So, in this direction they have got a large dimension, in this direction they have got a large dimension, but along this direction, the direction of thickness, they are very thin. So, we will assume that in the thickness direction there is no variation of temperature, but anyway there will be temperature variation along this direction, temperature variation along this direction. So, it is basically a two dimensional heat transfer in fin, which we have not analyzed earlier. Earlier we have analyzed fin as one dimensional heat conducting body. So, let us go back. So, convective heat transfer is two dimensional or rather the temperature distribution is two dimensional. So, accordingly the convective heat transfer will be affected. Fin plates are basically two dimensional fins, and we have done so far only one dimensional fin analysis. So, nevertheless, analysis of two dimensional fins are difficult. For the design of heat exchanger, approximate one dimensional calculation is adopted. This is what I am going to talk about in today's lecture. So, these are crux of the today's discussion is these fins are two dimensional fin. Let us see how to design them with whatever knowledge we are having. We are having the knowledge of analyzing one dimensional fin. So, we will try to adopt that with some sort of a modification. Tubes in fin tube heat exchanger are arranged in inline array and staggered array. This I have already shown and discussed. Then two very common cases of inline and two very common cases are inline and staggered array of tubes as shown in the figure. So, previous figure it has been shown. In a figure after this we will again show this. Part of the fin plate affected by heat transfer from a particular tube are shown by red line. So, if it is a two dimensional fin, then a tube will have heat transfer by conduction, or from the tube the thermal energy will spread in the fin by conduction, and this will be restricted within a zone. So, that zone is shown by red line. As we will see the diagram, it will be clear. Depending on the tube arrangement, it should be a regular or irregular polygon. So, depending how we are arranging the tube, there could be different kind of polygon starting from square, rectangle, etc., and they could be regular polygon or irregular polygon depending on the arrangement of the tube. The symmetric sector of the polygon is shown by the hatched portion. So, if it is a polygon, then there will be different lines of symmetry, and we will see that there is some sort of a symmetric geometry by repeating which we can get the whole of the polygon. So, that is shown by hatched portion. Then these polygonal fins are analyzed by two methods. One is equivalent annular method or equivalent annulus method, and sector method. Here I like to say that one can do a rigorous mathematical analysis by assuming two dimensional heat conduction. That is not impossible, but that is very cumbersome and is not convenient to be used for your regular design calculation. So, what we do that we have got one dimensional fin analysis already available, we want to adopt that, but it is a two dimensional fin. So, we have to modify our analysis. So, this modification is done by two different methods. One is equivalent annulus method and another is sector method. With this background, let us go back to the let us proceed to the next slide. In equivalent annular method or equivalent annulus method, that is also told in some of the books, the polygonal fin is idealized as an annular or radial fin as shown in the figure. The figure we are going to show in the coming slides. So, basically we have got a polygon. Okay. So, that polygon can be replaced by an equivalent circle. What is meant by equivalent circle? The area of the polygon and the area of the circle, they will be the same. For the given tube outer radius, if the tube outer diameter is d, then d is equal to 2 r I, where r I is the outer radius. One can find out the outer radius of the equivalent annulus, and the outer radius of the equivalent annulus is denoted as r E. So, basically instead of polygon, now we are getting an annular geometry which is having inner radius is equal to r I and outer radius is equal to r E. So, once r I and r E are known, then the fin efficiency can be determined by the usual method for obtaining the efficiency of a circular fin. How to determine the circular fin efficiency? We have seen that generally it comes through Bessel function, and again it is complex. In regular design, we do not like to use those Bessel function. So, basically there will be some sort of curves or charts. So, from there we can do it. Now, with the advent of computing power, probably one can have some sort of a software for calculating the fin efficiency, and there may be a better method could be adopted, which will be slightly more accurate. But so far what I can suggest that the fin efficiency curves are available. Knowing the geometry of the fin and other thermogeometric parameter, which is m, already we have defined m, one can determine the efficiency of the fin, be it a longitudinal fin or a circular fin. So, for n sided regular polygon, and if the regular polygon has got one side is equal to a, then the equivalent outer radius of the annulus is given by the formula which is written over here. Okay. So, we are getting R E. R E we are getting, R I is a quantity which is given already specified in the design, and then we can proceed. So, let us see the diagram here. So, whatever fin tube heat exchanger with integral fin plate I have shown, here I am showing some geometric details. Let us say in this case the tubes are inline arranged. So, you see that if I draw one line, so all the center line of the tubes in this level are falling on this line, and in the second row all the center line are falling in this line. So, these are called inline arrangement of tubes. So, the inline arrangement of tube is like this, and then one can identify, suppose this is a tube, and this tube, through this tube some fluid is passing whose temperature is different from air. So, what will happen, surrounding area of the tube in the fin, that will be affected by the temperature of the periphery of the tube, and the affected area is shown by this red line. So, the effect of the tube will not penetrate in the fin beyond the red line. So, what we can see that if there are large number of tubes which will be there in a big heat exchanger. So, all the tubes will have some sort of a square fin, and these red boundaries are also thermally insulating boundaries or adiabatic boundaries. So, there will not be any heat transfer across the or normal to the red boundaries. So, what we can see that our fin plate, which was really bit complex to analyze, now it represents a situation where there are number of circular tubes with square kind of a fin. And again the square fin has got different lines of symmetry. So, the shaded zone, that is one smallest portion of the fin which can be repeated to get the whole area of the fin from the symmetry of the problem, from the geometrical symmetry and from the thermal symmetry. So, this is inline array of tube, and this is how we can get the fin around the tube. Generally, inline arrangement is defined by two pitches. One is longitudinal pitch P L and another is transverse pitch P T. Depending on the process requirement, we can have different values of P L and P T. The particular case has been shown where P L and P T are the same. So, basically we are having an inline square array of tubes in the fin tube heat exchanger. So, let us go to the next slide. So, here I am showing the staggered array. So, you see this is the line of tube. The next line of tube is little bit shifted, central lines of the tubes are little bit shifted. So, this is a staggered array of tube. This staggered array is drawn in such a way, more or less one can imagine that as if the tubes are occupying the apex of some equilateral triangle. So, only one pitch I can define the geometry, that is what is P, and of course, the diameter of the tube D, that is important. So, with this I can define the geometry. So, staggered array generally what happens, let me tell you that why there are two types of arrangement. It has been seen that staggered array generally gives more compactness and more heat transfer could be there. The fluid stream which will pass these tubes, behind the fluid stream which will pass the tubes, let us say this is the air flow which is taking place, okay, and flow of liquid is normal to the plane of the diagram. So, this is a air flow and that will make some sort of a vortex behind the tube, circular tube being a bluff body. So, it will create some sort of a vortex. So, vortex will give some sort of a mixing, and then if I have this staggered arrangement, we will get some good mixing, and this vortex is not directly coming out on the next tube. It is, I mean, its effect will be felt on the other tube. So, where these vortex are little bit died down. So, we will have a good mixture of good mixture when we are having the staggered tube. So, let us say the inline case is something like this. Let me draw here. So, the vortex are forming here, vortex is forming here, vortex is forming here, but staggered is something like this. So, vortex is forming here, here, here. So, you can get a better mixing and a better compactness, better heat transfer and compactness in the case of staggered arrangement. So, that is why we have got inline and staggered arrangement. Of course, there are other considerations which are to be fulfilled. So, let us come back to the present configuration. So, here again it is a staggered arrangement, and the arrangement is such that each tube occupy the vertex or apex of the vertex of the of a equilateral triangle, and with a pitch P we can define the geometry. We can see the shaded portion. So, this shaded portion is repeated to give this polygon, which is a regular hexagon. It is shown by red line to indicate that all the fins in this case will be hexagonal fin. So, when we are having this kind of staggered arrangement, then the integral fin plate presents a picture where there are tubes and each tube is surrounded by hexagonal fins. And again, as I have told in the previous case, these surfaces, let us say this surface or this surface, they are adiabatic surface. But in any case, we do not know how to analyze a hexagonal fin. So, what we will do? We will have some sort of a circle whose area is equal to the area of the hexagon. So, probably in the drawing it is not that accurate, but the circle area, let us say the green circle area and the red hexagon area, they are the same. Then we will assume that this central tube is surrounded by a circular fin whose periphery is given by this green line. So, this is what we will do. Okay. So, integral fin plate, though it gives a different kind of a challenge for analyzing the fin, we have got some method of doing it. Let me go back to the heat exchanger diagram, so that I will explain it. I will explain it once again with the help of the heat exchanger diagram. Let me go back to the previous slide, some previous slide, and then we will have a here. So, what we can see that so many tubes are there, then in this case each tube, we can assume that in the first case each tube is surrounded by square kind of fin, and in this case each tube is surrounded by hexagonal fin. So, this is what we are going to get ultimately. Okay. So, now our analysis has become easy. So, basically then it is a single tube. For the heat exchanger, what we can do? We can take a single tube is having number of fins at different interval, and these fins are not connected with any other thing, and only complexity we are having that these fins are not circular fin, these are polygonal fin. So, that is the first resolution, or first we resolve that, and second what we do? Here we take little bit of approximation. These polygonal fins, whether it is square or rectangle or regular or irregular hexagon, we convert them into equivalent circle. So, now our life is very simple. We know how to determine the efficiency of circular fin, and we can proceed. So, that is what we are going to do, and then equivalent annulus method I have already described. So, this is the equivalent annulus method, knowing R I and R E. So, basically R I is given by d by 2 and R E is given by the radius of this green circle, and from there we can determine the fin efficiency by the usual procedure. Then we go to the second method. In the second method, we have got second method is called the sector method. For the sector method, the repetitive part of the polygonal fin is divided into different angular sector as shown in the figure. The figure will follow. For each sector, the inner and outer radii are known. That will also we will see from the diagram or figure. So, the efficiency of a radial fin with these two radii can be calculated. Let the efficiency of the ith sector is eta I and its area is A I, then the efficiency of the polygonal fin by sector method is given by this particular formula. For demonstration or for understanding, complete understanding, we need to have a figure and then we can go for the figure. So, this is our sector method. So, let us say this is the outer diameter of the tube, which is given by outer diameter is given by d and the radius is given by r I. And then this is the sector. This sector repeats to give me the polygonal fin. So, what I am doing? I am dividing this sector, dividing this symmetric part of the fin into different angular sector. This is one angular sector, this is second, this is third, this is fourth. And then this angular sector, I am drawing some sort of approximate radial curve or circular curve. So, from here R I is known and from this curve R O is known. So, R E is known. So, knowing R I and R E, I can get the efficiency. The point is R E is different for different angular sectors which I have drawn. So, I will have different efficiency and these sectors, angular sectors are also having different area. So, combining the area and the efficiency, the formula which I have stated, with that I can determine the efficiency of the of the polygonal fin. So, obviously, the second method, the sector method, involves more amount of calculation, but it also guarantees better accuracy. So, it is up to you, up to the designer, which method one will select, whether equivalent annulus method or equivalent annular method one will select, or the sector method one will select. Whatever it may be, we will get the efficiency very close to the actual efficiency which can be obtained by rigorous mathematical analysis. So, now we know how to determine the fin efficiency of a circular, attached to the outer surface of a circular tube. If it is longitudinal fin, we do not have any problem, we have got formula. If it is radial fin, we do not have any problem, we have got the formula and the chart. And if it is an integral fin plate, then it is a polygonal fin and we are determining approximately its efficiency from the radial fin efficiency. This is what we tried to discuss today. If you have got any confusion or query, come back to the forum and we will try to address that. So, with this I like to end today's lecture.